Hey guys, now that it's spring, I wanted to show you what I'm doing in my garden. Right here, I am essentially clearing out an area for a new compost bin that I'm going to make out of chicken wire. I'm going to dig about 2 feet below the surface, and just a word of advice to those of you who've never gardened before. If you do want to garden, and it might be a little late for this, if you take a bunch of organic matter, put it over the area you want to garden and water it for a week or two, you'll find that you get this really soft, manageable soil to work with beneath the organic matter. What happens is the worms are attracted to the organic matter, so they come up and they till. I've found so many worms as I've been digging through here, it's just insane. And this is perfect soil to actually start a garden. So if I were to think about maybe planting in this area, I would have left all of this organic material in a pile here all winter and watered it, and then just moved it aside and basically tilled it up and started planting. So just a good idea for those of you who have never gardened before. I live in Colorado. Our ground is clay. If I go to an area that hasn't been covered with organic matter and try to dig in, it's nearly impossible. You can see how hard that is. Okay? So, this is the garden. That's my herb garden there. I have a raspberry and blackberry patch here, as you can see. My raspberries are already starting to bloom. Also, this is a plum tree, which is starting to bloom as well. Compost heap here. This is where I planted my potatoes. And, well, I just put a mound over one of them coming up, and I don't want to move it for fear of breaking the actual little bud, but I'll show you when it comes up next time. Compost heap, not so attractive. It's basically full, so I'm making another one. My beds. These are turnip greens. I can start eating these if I want. I also planted a cover crop in each of my beds. Here I have Swiss chard and wheat and ryegrass, in addition to some clover that I planted in here. I did that to all of my beds. Got a nice little green to them, so you can see. Here is my seed starter bed. My seedlings didn't do such a good job with those, and what happened was I left them outside and they dried out. So I decided to fill this with a layer of compost about 1 inch to 2 inches thick, straight over the mulch, and I just planted my seedlings in here. I got this plastic for free off Craigslist, so I just slide it right on over, put some wood on it to keep it weighed down, and that is my cold frame. Pretty nifty. Here's another garden bed I have, and that is my yard, which I've mulched. I'm going to be building a beehive, and this is the area where I'd like to place my chicken coop. So here are some collards, and also there are collards here. These types of plants, collards and kale, are perennials, which means they're biennials. They come up every other year. What happens is you plant them the first year and you get a ton of leaves. The next year they come up, they form flowers and seeds. So I've got several different collard plants, and they're going to basically form flowers and seeds, and I'll be able to collect the seeds. Although this one looks a little funky, the leaves are all curled, which means it might have a virus. So I may want to take that out because I do not want to have seeds that have a virus in them. So that's my garden. Today I'm going to be working on the compost heap, and I'm also going to build trellises that come from this to this side, and I'll be able to grow plants. Oh, and almost before I forget, if you see here, those are my peas that are actually coming up. I planted them a couple weeks ago. I'm surprised that they're actually growing. So they didn't die, which is good for me. Alright, see you guys later. Guys, I'm going to show you how to make a cheap compost bin today. What I have done here is I've taken all this organic matter, which was originally just in a pile under a tarp at some point, hasn't been composting very well. I dug a hole about 1.5 feet deep, moved all the organic matter from that side to this side. Now I'm going to dig the same hole on the other side, so it's going to be one huge square about 2 feet deep. There's a reason why I do this. The reason why is because I have a lot of organic material here, and I don't want to pile it up. So I put that hole in the ground, and it lowers the volume of material that I have to deal with. It also creates a reservoir to collect moisture, and that will wick into the organic pile. And also it allows the earthworms to travel through the ground right into the compost. So they'll be able to get into that. I'm going to show you my vermicompost heap, which initially was a hot pile and turned into a cold pile because I got tired of basically twisting it, and now it's a vermicompost bin, and it's filled with worms all through the winter. As a matter of fact, normally they'll die. Let me just grab something to dig in there, and you can see what I'm talking about. But I have myself a worm bin. Let me see if I can find a bunch of them. Oh, there they are. I don't know if you can see them. They've just completely taken over this entire compost bin and made it their own. As you can see, they're just everywhere. There's also maggots and all sorts of other creatures that are all conducive towards the decaying process. And this smells like ammonia, which I don't believe is a good thing, but it's not bothering the worms and everything is getting done. So you can see there's the finished compost below. And so there you go. I'm going to update you on how to make it. Now my hole is finished, and I filled it with organic material. I've alternated the nitrogen-rich food and things like that with the carbon-rich straw. As you can see, it is a pile. And so what I'm essentially going to do is build around the perimeter on all 3 sides using some chicken wire over there and these poles that are going to be my frames. So this is cheaper, and also it allows you to make the compost bin as tall as you want it to be, because you can just keep adding chicken wire as the compost fills up. I also wanted to show you guys my vermicompost bin, which I was messing around in, and it just is filled with worms. So if I uncover some of this, you can see, look at those guys. And it's filled all the way through with these red wiggler worms. So I'm going to have a lot of fish bait this year. And I'm really proud of myself, because it all happened by accident. But anyways, I'm just going to continue on with this. Guys, I just finished making my compost heap. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So essentially what I did was I took these poles and I weaved them through the chicken wire. And what I did is I stuffed the chicken wire down below the surface of the box that I built, or I dug, so as to deter animals, and then I filled that in with dirt. And what I plan to do, because when you have a compost heap, like as you can see, this is chicken wire, and some of the stuff just falls right out. You get piles of compost. So then what I want to do is I want to take some cardboard and just prop it up against the chicken wire, and that'll hold everything in the compost heap. To finish this off, I'm going to go get a tarp and cover it. You want to do that so that you can maintain the amount of moisture you want in the compost heap. Also, it'll allow the biological processes to take place a lot quicker because they favor darkness, and so you're giving them protection from the sun and the elements. So there you have it. And if this compost heap gets bigger, all I have to do is put another layer of chicken wire on top of this, and it should be fine. This is my other compost heap, which I have successfully removed some of the stuff, and now it looks a lot nicer. So it's a hard day's work, and tomorrow we're expecting snow, so I'm going to cover my potato barrel with some insulating material over there, and hopefully nothing dies. Thanks for watching.